Yeah, I'm a little confused.
Me too.
Yeah, so jail cell.
Oh, I think he might be waiting to see the judge too.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Hoping. That's a little weird.
All right, so let's see who's in the courtroom. If your case is not being called, you may want to mute. So Zoom user, you may want to mute because the courtroom can hear what you're saying. That's you putting your head next to the video camera. All right. Okay. So you may not want to speak or mute. Yeah, I can still hear. We can still hear you in the Zoom courtroom. You with the sunglasses on the couch. Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right.
How do you mute this?
All right, you're muted. All right, so let's call to the record docket 2402515. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Gary Thomas. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson.
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Mr. Feigelson.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning. Assistant Public Defender Stephen Feigelson, appearing on behalf of Gary Thomas, who's present by way of video conferencing from the Ingham County Jail this morning.
And sir, you are Gary Thomas, is that correct? All right, you can hear me all right, Mr. Thomas? Yes. All right, this is the time set for a probable cause conference. Ms. Wilson, how are we proceeding?
Thank you, Your Honor. It's my understanding that the defendant is going to be unconditionally waiving his right to a preliminary exam today. The people also waive their right to a preliminary exam. There is no offer at this time, and there are no changes to the complaint going into circuit.
All right, and that's a fair statement, Mr. Feigelson?
It is, Your Honor. He does have some matters pending in front of Judge Aquilina for sentencing out next year, so we hope to work this out with those matters, Your Honor.
All right, so negotiations are continuing on this matter.
That is correct.
All right, Mr. Feigelson may inquire of your client, Mr. Thomas, of his waiver of the preliminary examination.
You may, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Thomas, you understand you have a right to a preliminary examination today. A preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. You are represented today by attorney Stephen Feigelson, and he would be present to cross-examine any witnesses or contest any charges brought against you by the people of the state of Michigan. It is my understanding it is your wish today to waive your right to a preliminary examination, have this case continue to circuit court where negotiations between the people and Mr. Feigelson are going to continue. Is it your wish today to waive your right to a preliminary examination? Yes. All right. And Ms. Wilson, the people also waive their right to a preliminary examination.
We do, Your Honor. Thank you.
I find the preliminary examination to be knowing, voluntarily, and accurately made, and I'll provide the documentation to counsel, and then you can get, if you get authorization through the Zoom for your client signing, we can do it that way.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Mr. Thomas, do I have permission to sign your name on the bind over form?
Mr. Thomas, does your attorney have your permission to sign on your behalf on the bind over form? That's a documentation that moves this to circuit court. So he'd be signing via Zoom for you. I believe that's a yes. Is that a yes, sir? Okay. All right, so I'm in possession of the bind over documentation. I'll indicate the examination has been waived on today's date, which is September 6th. And the bind over documentation is signed. Before I sign the bind over documentation, anything else on the record in docket 2402515, Ms. Wilson?
Not for the people.
Mr. Feigelson?
Nothing on behalf of Mr. Thomas.
All right, Mr.
Morning, excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Feigelson. Mr. Thomas, Your next stop will be in circuit court, and you'll get that date from your attorney, Mr. Feigelson. All right, sir? Oh, all right. I've signed the bind over documentation. Thank you, everybody, for your appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And you're all set, Mr. Thomas.
We tried to identify the individual in the other jail post. I can't tell who it is.
Jail post 2.
Yeah.
Would the individual on jail post 2 please identify yourself? In Ingham jail post 2, would you please identify yourself? We're gonna mute the jail tablet. There we go. Would Ingham County jail post 2 please identify yourself? Don't know who that is.
I have no idea.
It could either be Dayton Ackley or Guy Ross.
We'll find out when he's the last person
Oh, I
called.
think he just said.
It's just soft.
What's your name, sir?
I'm
You'll have to
Dagan.
speak up. You'll have to speak up, sir.
Dagan.
Dayton Ackley.
Okay, Dayton Ackley. All right.
It's my understanding he's unrepresented at this time.
I think they filed an appearance really late at like 5:30 yesterday.
Oh, okay. Yes, Mr. Silverthorne. Mr. Silverthorne.
I got it
Okay.
this morning.
Gotcha. Mr. Silverthorne, are you ready on Mr. Akeley?
I guess I've
All
known
right.
him for I've known about him for about 8 minutes now.
Okay.
All right.
I was assigned between 5 and 6 p.m. yesterday. Had I not turned my computer on this morning, I would have had no idea.
All
So
right.
I'm as ready as can be under the circumstances.
That's good enough. That's good enough. All right, so we're on the record. In docket 24-02545. That's people of the state of Michigan versus Dayton Ackley. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson,
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Mr. Silverthorne.
Good morning, Your Honor, and good morning, Mr. Ackley. Dwayne Silverthorne from the Office of Public Defender.
And
On
sir,
behalf of
you
Dayton
are
Ackley.
you are Dayton Ackley, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. And you can hear me all right, Mr. Ackley?
Yeah.
All right. This is the time set for a probable cause conference. Ms. Wilson, how are we proceeding today? I don't know if it looks like Mr. Silverthorne was just appointed.
He was, Your Honor. I believe for the time being, it might be prudent to leave this set for exam. It is my understanding that Mr. Ackley has another file that is set for probable cause in front of Judge Buchanan next week. So depending on how negotiations go, we may change that, but I'd like to give Mr. Silverthorne some time to review the file.
Mr. Silverthorne, is that a fair statement to leave it on for prelim for next week?
Yeah, that's really the only prudent thing that I can do, Your Honor, yes.
All right. So the probable cause conference was held and we will leave on for preliminary examination on September 13th at 9 a.m. Mr. Ackley, your attorney, Mr. Silverthorne, will be out to see you. We've left your preliminary examination on for September 13th at 9 a.m. All right, sir?
Okay.
Mr.
All
Ackley,
right.
that'll probably be on Monday. That's the next business.
So you'll
day.
probably, so Mr. Silverthorne indicated that you'd probably be out to see it on Monday, okay?
Okay.
Anything else on the record for the probable cause conference in record 24-02545, Ms. Wilson?
Not for the people.
Mr. Silverthorne.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you for your appearance today, Mr. Ackley. We'll see you on the 13th.
All right. Thank you.
But I have phase was ready. And that was
We can go on, Mr. Joseph Faisman.
All right, that's F. We have a Jenny Fies and a
Chief Joseph.
Joseph Fays. And we're ready on Mr. Fays. Mr. Fays, oh, there he is.
He's on Zoom.
All right. Right, so we're on the record in docket 24-02458. That's People versus Joseph Fays. This is a Judge Buchanan probable cause conference. Mr. Nagel, Mr. Nagel, appearances for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Matt Nagel for the people.
Mr. Palmer.
Good morning, Your Honor. Robert Palmer of the Public Defender's Office on behalf of Mr. Fays, who appears today via Zoom.
And sir, you are Joseph Fays, is that correct? You'll have to unmute.
Is that better?
Yeah, there you go. I can hear you, Mr. Fays.
Sorry, I'm
All
so
right.
confused on how to do this.
So you're fine. And you can hear me all right, Mr. Fays?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine, sir.
All right, thank you. This is the time set for a probable cause conference. Mr. Nagel, how are we proceeding?
It's my understanding that we're going to be proceeding to the preliminary exams currently scheduled for Friday, September 13th at 9 a.m. Your Honor.
Is that a fair statement, Mr. Palmer?
It's an accurate statement, Your Honor. I have had good contact with Mr. Fays. We've discussed the matter. We're leaving the matter set for preliminary examination. It's my understanding Mr. Fays has checked in with pretrial services and is otherwise compliant with his bond conditions.
All right. So, Mr. Fays, we will leave this on in front of Judge Buchanan for September 13th at 9 a.m.
Yes, sir.
So you'll be in front of Judge Buchanan. That'll be live unless you hear differently from Mr. Palmer on September 13th at 9 a.m. Anything else for the record in 24-02458, Mr. Nagel?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Palmer?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. We'll see it. You'll see you in front of Judge Buchanan on September 13th. Thank you for your appearance. You're all set, Mr. Fays.
Thank you. How do I exit this? I'm so sorry.
Just hit an X, hit an X someplace, and I think that should take care of it.
I don't have an X anywhere.
Here, I could probably remove you.
If you could, that would be awesome. I would appreciate it.
All right. I know exactly how he feels.
I was thinking the same thing.
Ms. Wilson, how did you want to proceed, or Mr. Nagel?
It sounded like Mr. Palmer was running on Mr. Wilson.
That's correct. He's sitting right here.
That's right.
All right, so we're on the record in docket 24-02523. That is People of the State of Michigan versus David Wilson. This is a probable cause conference in front of myself. Ms. Wilson, your appearance for the record.
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Mr. Williams,
No.
you should probably not talk or mute yourself. The entire courtroom can hear you.
Sorry.
Okay,
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Mr. Palmer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Robert Palmer of the Public Defender's Office on behalf of Mr. David Wilson, the gentleman standing to my right.
And sir, you are David Wilson, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. This is the time set for a preliminary examination or probable cause conference. Ms. Wilson, how are we proceeding?
Thank you, Your Honor. It's my understanding we're going to leave this set for exam next week.
And is that a fair statement, Mr. Palmer?
That's an accurate statement, Your Honor. I have had good contact with Mr. Wilson. He and I have discussed the case. We intend to leave the matter set for prelim. Mr. Wilson, is my understanding, he's checked in with pretrial services and those otherwise compliant with his bond conditions.
All right. So we will leave on for preliminary examination in front of this court for September 13th at 8:30. Anything else for the record in 24-02523, Ms. Wilson?
Not for the people.
Mr. Palmer?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Wilson, we will see you back here next Friday at 8:30. All right, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Connor, it sounds like we might be ready on Miss Rivera.
Ms. Rivera. Erica Rivera.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let me.
Yeah, we'll go.
All right, so we're on the record in docket 24-02543. That's People of the State of Michigan versus Erica Rivera. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Mr. Nagel.
Good morning, Your Honor. Matt Nagel for the people.
And then I am in possession of some substitution of attorney. So we'll go ahead and place your appearance on the record, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor. Takura Nyamfukuza on behalf of Mr. Rivera, who's present and standing to my right.
And ma'am, you are Erica Rivera, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I'm going to sign the substitution of counsel for Mr. Fukuza.
Yes.
Thank you. And that, so I will sign that. 9. Do you want this or should I put this in? Do you want the substitution? All right, Mr. Nagel, how are we proceeding at the probable cause conference?
Your Honor, this is currently scheduled for a preliminary exam.
Oh. Okay, this is the PCC, but it's scheduled for September 13th?
That's correct, Your Honor. However, I have a witness, police officer witness who is unavailable this week due to officer training. And he is not able to lead training to make this preliminary exam. So the people are going to be requesting an adjournment of the preliminary exam.
All right, Mr. Fukuza, what is your response?
Actually, that's perfect. We were going to ask to waive the 21 days because we have trial coming up, so.
All right, so we'll get a new date from the dates that Judge Buchanan has. And then Mr. Neem Fukuza, may I inquire of your client of the waiver of the 21-day rule?
Yes, please.
All right. Mr. Rivera, you understand you have the right to a preliminary examination within 21 days of your date of arraignment. A preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. You are represented today by Attorney Takura I'm going to butcher that name, Attorney Takura Nia Fukuza, and he would be present to cross-examine any witnesses or contest any charges brought against you by the people of the state of Michigan. It is my understanding it is your wish to waive your right to a prelim only within that 21-day period. You wouldn't be waiving your right to a prelim in general. And so that is for your attorney to get all the discovery materials and everything. And there won't be a conflict. There's a conflict with this date. And so he can zealously advocate for your defense. Is it your wish today to waive your right to a prelim only within that 21-day period? People also waive their right to a preliminary examination within 21 days?
We do, Your Honor.
All right. I find the waiver of the 21-day rule to be knowing, voluntarily, and accurately made. And we will reset this prelim, and I know Judge Buchanan gave us some dates.
October 4th at 10.
So October 4th at 10, does that work with your schedule?
That
I know you have a busy.
right. It actually won't be in the country, Your Honor.
All right, let's try later.
That's all she gave me. Let me see if I can message her real quick.
All right. Because that's a definite conflict if you're not in the country. I would assume her dates are not unlike my own. So we'd just be looking for a October date later, but let's make sure she doesn't have anything already
Yeah,
scheduled.
I just want to check with her, Jason.
That would be either the 10th or the 18th, I would think. If we switch days.
I think Kelly's maybe the 18th, but I don't know Judge Buchanan's other.
All right.
calendars.
Yeah, I don't know her docket.
Afterwards, I wanted to make sure that.
She gave us 2 dates.
With the September 26th
Yeah.
at 10 work.
How about September 26th at 10? That's closer, but I don't know if that's any better.
So I'm actually supposed to be in 2 places at the same time, actually,
Right.
trial and
Let's see if we can get the let's see if we can get the October 11th date or the October the term. So it'd be October 10th or the 18th is what we're shooting for. Do you have, is there, it would be the 18th. That would probably be it. Does that work?
Let's,
I'm waiting to hear
so
back.
I have a trial starting in front of Judge Jamo on the 14th. It's a CSC with 2 complainants. And I don't know that we're gonna wrap it up in 4 days.
Let's see. Let's try the 10th. And that pushes out to the 24th. Do you have any?
That's fine.
You're just looking for a date at
We're
this
just-
point.
yes, Your Honor.
That would actually, that works.
So we can go, how about, can we go out to the 24th?
Check.
All right.
Like I said, the judge doesn't.
Has she gotten back with you on anything?
Oh, yeah, she's looking at it. Yeah, we're communicating.
Try the 24th. That seems to be. But I don't know if the judges, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Your
what your
schedule.
schedule is, so I prefer to check with your JA if possible.
But let's put it on the 24th. So we're not just waiting. We'll do it October 24th at,
She has Friday for
so we have to do it in the morning.
She has Friday for first thing. I'm just not sure how long there's Friday for
I don't even,
10 to be safe.
10, okay. Let's do October 24th at 10 a.m. Of course, I'm doing this on another judge's docket, so this may, but we know that's a good date. We just don't know if that's a good time.
Correct.
All right. But we set it for October 24th at 10 a.m. Ms. Rivera, please keep in contact with your attorney in this matter. And you'll be in front of Judge Buchanan on October 24th at 10 a.m. All right, ma'am? All right. Anything else for the record? In docket 2402543, Mr. Nagel.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Niemfakuza.
Oh, nicely done. Nothing additional. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. All right. And you, I think you can get notice from my court officer on Judge Buchanan's
Just wait.
docket.
I don't have the file yet, Miss Warren. You gotta wait.
Here you go.
And then I gotta enter this.
You can only do so much.
Taking custody.
Right.
This is the jury.
I believe we're ready on Jenny Face. That's a Mr. Etheridge case.
Yeah, we give you. I'm gonna give you 1 second,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
no
we're gonna
problem.
call this phase.
When do you only clear?
I'm working on.
Oh, yes.
All right. And Mr. Etheridge.
He's on
is-
Zoom.
Oh, there he is. All right. All right, so we're on the record in docket 2402341. That is People of the State of Michigan versus Jenny Faze. This is set for a probable cause conference in front of myself. Appearances for the record, Ms. Wilson.
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Mr. Etheridge.
Good morning, Your Honor. Attorney Derek Esper from the Office of the Public Defender on behalf of Ms. Fayes. We're both appearing by video.
And ma'am, you are Jenny Faze, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you can hear me all right, Ms. Faze?
Yes, I can.
All right. This is the time set for probable cause conference. Ms. Wilson, how we proceed?
Thank you, Your Honor. It's my understanding we're gonna leave this set for exam.
And is that a fair statement, Mr. Etheridge?
Yes, Your Honor. We're asking the court leave this matter set for preliminary examination. Ms. Wilson will be getting a plea offer to me early next week. I'll discuss with Ms. Fayes. Ms. Fayes advised me she has been checking in with pretrial services and is in compliance with all bond conditions at this time.
All right, thank you. All right, probable cause conference is held, and we're gonna leave this on for scheduled for September 13th, which is a week from today, Friday at 9 o'clock in front of myself. That would be a live hearing in front of myself. Anything else for the record in docket 24-02341, Ms. Wilson?
Not for the people.
Mr. Etheridge?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, Ms. Faze, we'll see you next Friday at 9, okay, sir? Okay, ma'am?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Elder, we're going to call your case next. Let us get the substitution of counsel from the public defender's office, and then we'll call your case. All right, sir?
Thank you, Judge.
All right, so we're on the record in a docket 24-02406. That is People of the State of Michigan versus Ahmad Sufian. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson. Oh, Mr. Pfeiffer.
Morning, Your Honor. Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Adam Pfeiffer on behalf of the people.
And sir, you go ahead, sir.
And good morning to your staff, the Rate Elder, Mr. Sufyan. My P number is 57728.
All right, and you're here on behalf of Mr. Sufian, is that correct?
That's correct, Judge.
All right, and then I just saw Mr. Sufian.
He's on.
And sir, you are Ahmed Sufian, is that correct?
Yes, Judge, that's correct.
All right, you can hear me all right, Mr. Sufian?
Yes, Judge.
All right. I'm in possession of a substitution of attorney. It's signed by Mr. Feigelson and Mr. Elder. It does not look to be signed by Mr. Sufian, but I can do that via Zoom if all parties agree. Mr. Elder, is that all right to have your client sign the substitution of attorney via Zoom?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Pfeiffer.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Sufian, you acknowledge that you confirmed that, or you will allow the court to authorize the court to sign on your behalf the substitution of attorney for Mr. Elder?
I do.
All right. I'll put sign authorized. Yes. All right, I will sign the order. 9, 6. All right, this is the time set for a probable cause conference. Mr. Pfeiffer, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, there is no offer in this case this is in response to a different case that is now up to the circuit court. This is witness interference.
All right.
There is going to be one witness, that being Abdul Wahid. However, Mr. Wahid lives in England. And as a result, given that I didn't know what was going to be happening today, and with the fact there's new counsel on, I think an adjournment would be appropriate in order to give Mr. Wahid adequate time to actually get a flight over here. Now, if defense counsel has would waive his appearance and let him testify over Zoom, we can shortcut that pretty easily, but I don't ever make that assumption.
Right. All right, Mr. Elder, what is your wish to proceed today on this matter?
Your Honor, I think an adjournment would be best for this case, Judge.
All right. Are you seeking a just cause adjournment, or is your client going to waive his right to the 21-day rule and we can set it out for some time period?
Judge, we'll waive the 21 days, Judge.
All right, thank you. May I inquire of Mr. Sufian of his waiver of the 21-day rule?
Absolutely.
All right, Mr. Sufian, you understand you have a right to a preliminary examination within 21 days of your date of arraignment. A preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. You would be represented, and you are represented, by Attorney Dorrit Elder, and he would be present to cross-examine any witnesses or contest any charges brought against you by the people of the state of Michigan. It is my understanding it would be your wish today to waive your right to a prelim only within that 21-day period. You wouldn't be waiving your right to a prelim in general, and so that Mr. Elder can receive all the discovery information and zealously advocate for your defense. It appears that would also be supported by the people in this matter, so they would have time to bring the witness in part of the subpoena. Mr. Sufian, is it your request and is it your wish today to waive your right to a prelim within that 21-day period?
Yes, Judge, it is.
Okay. So I find the waiver of the 21-day rule to be knowing, voluntarily, and accurately made. Mr. Pfeiffer has already agreed and requested the adjournment, and we will reset the prelim. So waive 21 days. And then let us give you, Mr. Elder, we'll provide you with some dates and you can see what works within your schedule. First date of? How far are we looking out for you? Because you're.
That's at least a few weeks.
Yeah, I'd say 30 days would be safe.
Yeah, I think so. And to be clear, we're not going to base this around my schedule. I have 7 capital trials that are going over the next month and a half. So
get ready, Miss Wilson.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So
October 3rd at 9.
Does October 3rd at 9 o'clock, Mr. Elder, work within your schedule?
It does, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. So let's reset for prelim on October 3rd at 9 o'clock.
Your Honor, can I ask for 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock should be fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, 10 o'clock should be fine.
I will let the witness know immediately so we can make those travel plans.
All right.
Mr. Elder, for any reason I don't need to call him, just let me know. So that way we can not have to worry about that. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
I'll make sure he flies out.
Sounds good. And Judge.
All right. So we'll set it for October 3rd at 10 o'clock. Mr. Sufian, you'll get notice sent to the Holt, Michigan address. Is that still a good address for you?
Yes, it is, Judge.
All right, Mr. Elder, you'll receive notice of that. That's October 3rd at 10 o'clock. That'll be a live hearing unless I hear differently from the parties. Anything else for the record in 2402406, Mr. Pfeiffer?
Not from the people, Your Honor.
Mr. Elder.
Your Honor, if I could just get a copy of that signed substitution so I can send it over to the prosecutor's office so I can get discovery. I think they have a process where I need to send it to them as well.
Yes.
Not just a sub of formal appearance sent to our office. That's what triggers the process for it.
Yeah, so it'll be a substitution of attorney, and then the second is the actual appearance is what that'll trigger the discovery address, so to speak. But you can get a copy of the substitution of attorney.
Thank you, Judge.
Anything else for the record in 2402406, Mr. Elder?
One last thing, Your Honor. I know that my client's cell phone was taken, Judge. I do believe there's exculpatory evidence. I'm asking the court, do you need me to send a formal motion to have that returned to the client? Or how do you want me to do that? They took his cell phone, Judge, and I believe there's exculpatory evidence on that cell phone. I know that they've had it for quite some time.
Yeah, I think a dump's already been done of it.
Oh,
So
haven't.
I think the last time I talked to the detective on this, granted it was in passing, she mentioned that a cell phone dump had been done, assuming I'm not mixing up my cases. I will double check on that. If it's dump's already been done, I will make sure that you get a full copy of it, the entire contents of the phone.
And we'd like the phone back itself though, as well.
Yeah, I think the phone would be a part of evidence at this
Yes.
point in time until, but we can revisit the issue at preliminary examination. But I think the phone is probably still in lockup. You'll get a copy of any discovery, and then if anything else lends itself to any exculpatory evidence, we can address that at the preliminary examination.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. That's all for the record. And
Yeah.
2402-406. We'll see everybody here on October 3rd.
Have a great
Thank you,
day.
Your Honor.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
And Mr. Nagel, you wanted to proceed on Mark, is it Marisick?
All right, fun.
Yeah, that's definitely here. My trials are.
Yeah, let's try that.
September
I mean, those
22nd.
are pretty straightforward. So as long as I'm
Just to see who's here and who's.
It's just, you know,
getting in here, yeah, correct.
7 days, it's a lot to ask for someone that's just getting international life. Also self-employed.
She's in
Yeah, that's.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
You too, Mr. Pfeiffer. All right, so we're on the record in docket 2402-517. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Dejan Maracek. Will the parties please, this is a probable cause conference set in front of Judge Buchanan. Appearances for the record, Mr. Nagel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Matt Nagel for the people.
And Mr. Puda.
Good morning, Your Honor. Julian Puda on behalf of the defendant.
And sir, you are Dejan Maracek?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is that a correct pronunciation of your name, sir?
Maricic, Your Honor.
Maricek, is that?
Maricic.
Maricic, all right, Maricic. All right, thank you. This is the time set for a probable cause conference. Mr. Nagel, how are we proceeding today?
Your Honor, this is currently scheduled for a preliminary exam, I believe on Friday the 13th. That's my understanding. We're going to be leading it separately. Exam.
All right, Mr. Puda, is that a fair statement?
No, Your Honor, I am asking for an adjournment of the exam. Your Honor, I am missing some discovery. I do need a inventory procedure documentation from the Lansing Police Department. Count 2 is a charge of controlled substances that was allegedly found pursuant to an inventory search. So I do need, as part of discovery, the inventory procedure policy of the Lansing Police Department, as well as any inventory list that was generated, Your Honor. And then also, Your Honor, I do have a scheduling conflict next Friday, so I'm asking if you could adjourn the exam 30 days out.
All right, Mr. Puda, is this a German request, a good cause request, or is your client willing to waive his right to a prelim within the 21-day period so we can set it off a little bit? This is because it's not my docket, so I got to find. I'm not sure how Judge Buchanan's docket works, but is this a waiver or is this a good cause request?
He's willing to waive the 21-day rule, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Nagel, are the people willing to adjourn this matter to set this out for some discovery issues? It appears that counsel has a conflict for the prelim date also.
We're willing to wait.
All right. All right. So, Mr. Puda, may I inquire of your client of his waiver of the 21-day rule?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Maricic, you understand that you have a right to preliminary examination within 21 days of your date of arraignment. A preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. You are represented today by Attorney Julian Puda, and he would be present to cross-examine any witnesses or contest any charges brought against you by the people of the state of Michigan. It is my understanding it is your wish today to waive your right to a prelim within that 21-day period so that Mr. Puda can get all the discovery he needs and can resolve any conflict he might have in order to zealously represent you in your defense. Is it your wish today to waive your right to a preliminary examination only within that 21-day period? You wouldn't be waiving your right to a prelim in general?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And people also waive their right, Mr. Nagel?
That people waive, Your Honor.
All right. To the 21-day rule. All right. I find the waiver of the 21-day rule to be knowing, voluntarily, and accurately made. And we will reset this prelim, I would think 30 days out.
Your Honor, is it possible to reset it to a PCC?
Yeah, I don't know what Judge Buchanan does. I'm going to defer to Mr. Nagel on that.
We can reset the PCC.
Okay. So we'll reset for PCC, knowing that you haven't had an actual PCC with all the discovery. And then I would think 30 days out. You have a date?
I don't. That was
Okay.
my concern. Let
All
me
right.
get with Kelly just a moment, please.
Well, I don't want to wait on Kelly because unless she's getting right back.
She should.
Okay.
I'm not comfortable.
We're going to inquire to see if we can get a date for 30 days out. All right, Mr. Fuda?
Problem.
So it appears that we'll set it, they're requesting, or Judge Buchanan is requesting, we set it for prelim on October 4th. Does that October 4th work on your, that's the date they gave us.
Okay. That's at what time?
10.
At 10 o'clock. So October 4th at 10 o'clock.
Okay. Is it possible to do October 11th?
I don't know because they didn't give us that date. I would venture a no.
Okay, October 4th at 10 o'clock would be fine.
Right. Since the judge isn't here and we're talking to the court officer and the court officer gave us the 4th, I would think the 11th they're going to be. All right. So October 4th at 10 o'clock, that'll be set for prelim. So that'll be a live prelim in front of Judge Buchanan. Anything else for the record in docket 24-02517, Mr. Nagel?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Puda, are you all set today?
All set, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Sir, you'll be in front of Judge Buchanan on October 4th at 10 o'clock. Thank you for your appearance today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you're all set, Mr. Marisek.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Where to next? All right, Mr. Kuntz and Ms. Williams, we'll call your case. So we're on the record in docket 1400114. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Christina Williams. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson.
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Mr. Kuntz.
Morning, Your Honor. Dustin Kuntz for Christina Williams, appearing by Zoom.
And ma'am, you are Christina Williams, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you can hear me all right, Ms. Williams?
Yes, sir.
All right, this is the time set for a probable cause conference. Ms. Wilson, how are we proceeding?
Thank you, Your Honor. In reviewing the file, it appears that the businesses involved in this case are all either no longer in business or have been bought by other businesses. As a result, the people don't have any contact with any witnesses that would need to be present in order to sustain our burden in this file. So at this time, the people are moving to dismiss as we cannot sustain our burden.
All right. And I'm assuming you have no objection, Mr. Coons?
No objection, Your Honor.
The only thing that's outstanding in this matter is Miss Williams has to get her fingerprints. And she's done it. She's done. So she's done it, Mr. Coons. Disregard what that last statement. All right. I'll put, all right. So I will await the motion from the prosecutor or the nollie pros to be printed. That's a dismissal without prejudice, I assume.
That's correct, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Thank you, Ms. Lebiak. All right, I'm in possession of an order of dismissal or nollie pros in docket 1400114. And this is a motion for the prosecutor to dismiss without prejudice based on the interest of justice and other representations made on the record. I will sign the document to that effect. Anything else for the record in docket 1400114, Ms. Wilson?
Not for the people.
Mr. Kuntz, any comment on this matter? This is dismissed without prejudice, which means the people could reissue if they choose to, but realistically today the case is dismissed on this 1-4 case.
I have nothing else. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Williams, do you have any questions of me?
No, sir.
All right, you're all set, ma'am. Thank you for your appearance today.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Judge, how are you today?
I'm good. All right. So we're on the record in docket 2402521. That's people of the state of Michigan versus Marvin Phillips. Will the parties introduce themselves for the record? Mr. Phillips, you can go ahead and unmute. Should be on the microphone. You can unmute on the microphone.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Yep, sure can. Thank you, sir. Appearances for the record, Ms. Wilson.
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Mr. Austin.
Morning, Your Honor. Jared Austin appearing on behalf of Mr. Phillips. He appears with us today via Zoom.
And sir, you are Marvin Phillips, is that correct?
Yes, sir, I am.
And you can hear me all right, Mr. Phillips?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. This is the time set for a probable cause conference. Ms. Wilson, how are we proceeding?
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, I will be requesting a good cause adjournment. I haven't had the opportunity to discuss it with Mr. Austin. I just remembered it as we were going on the record. But my complaining witness, who is at this time the sole witness I intend to call, informed me yesterday that she has a premature child, as well as work obligations that preclude her from being able to appear next week. She informed me that if she was given a couple weeks to get childcare figured out and job stuff figured out, she would be able to make it. So at this time, I'm requesting a good cause adjournment.
Any objection to we're not leaving this on for preliminary examination because you intend that it would go past that, the request. Mr. Austin.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was unaware of this prior to just hearing it, but I guess the only thing I would just say, Your Honor, is that we're here, we would be ready to proceed next week. I would leave it at the court's discretion.
Well, it appears that I would, we're anticipating that she would take a couple of weeks, right?
That is correct, yes.
To get
To get
any matters
childcare
in
and
order.
things that need,
All right.
yes.
And I don't want Mr. Phillips to waive any of his rights in the matter because it's not his fault that. So I'm going to grant the good cause adjournment. So Mr. Phillips, you won't be waiving any rights. We're going to grant this outside of the 21-day period, but you won't be waiving any rights, and that is to get the victim here for prelim. So we will reschedule. We will reschedule the preliminary examination. I would think at least 2 weeks, if not 3 weeks. The more time.
It's my understanding that we were scheduling into the week of the 23rd. That should be sufficient time.
September 27th at 9.
All right, so September 27th at 9 o'clock.
September 27th.
At night, September 27th at 9 o'clock, and you should receive notice to that Pacific Avenue address. Is that still a good address for you, Mr. Phillips?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we'll reschedule for September 27th at 9 o'clock. That'll be live in person on the 6th floor of City Hall of Lansing. Anything else for the record in 2402521, Ms. Wilson?
Not for the people.
Mr. Austin?
Nothing additional on behalf of Mr. Phillips.
All right. So Mr. Phillips, we'll see you live in person on September 27th at 9 o'clock. That's all for the record in 2402521. Thank you, everybody, for your appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're all set, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh my God.
All right.
Who do we have in the jail post?
Buchanan.
All right, Mr. Williams, you can unmute. It's Levante Williams, you can unmute. Thank you, sir. We're on the record in docket 2402562. That's people of the state of Michigan versus Levante Williams. Will the parties please introduce themselves to the record? Ms. Wilson.
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Mr. Feigelson.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning. Again, Assistant Public Defender Stephen Feigelson on behalf of Levante Williams, who's present by way of video conferencing this morning.
Thank you. And sir, you are Levante Williams, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you can hear me all right, Mr. Williams?
Correct, Your Honor.
Thank you. This is the time set for a preliminary examination today. Ms. Wilson, how are we proceeding?
Thank you, Your Honor. It's my understanding that both parties are willing to unconditionally waive their right to a preliminary exam today. There are no offers at this time and negotiations are to continue in circuit.
So this would be a waiver of the preliminary examination with negotiations to continue.
That's correct.
That's correct, Your Honor. We did discuss the possibility of having Mr. Williams do be proceed under the Homes Youthful Training Act, but that's something we can negotiate in the circuit court.
All right. Mr. Feigelson may inquire of Mr. Williams of his waiver of the preliminary examination today.
You may, Your Honor.
Mr. Williams, you understand you have a right to a preliminary examination today. A preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. You're represented today by Attorney Stephen Feigelson, and you would be present to cross-examine any witnesses or contest any charges brought against you by the people of the state of Michigan. It is my understanding it is your wish to waive your right to a preliminary examination, have these negotiations to continue in circuit court. Is that a fair statement? Do you wish to waive your right to a preliminary examination today?
Yes, Your Honor.
People also waive their right to a preliminary examination today, Ms. Wilson.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
I find the waiver of the preliminary examination to be knowing, voluntarily, and accurately made based on negotiations to continue. And I will provide the bind over documentation And then we can inquire Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, do you give authorization to Mr. Feigelson, your attorney, to sign the bind over documentation on your behalf, just indicating that you waived your right to a prelim? Do you give authorization today?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
I know, but if I took it, your finger would move and I was gonna lose it. Just better finding the correct stick.
Thank you, Ms. Levier. All right, so we're in possession of the bind over documentation on 24-02562. That's been signed by all the parties and authorization's been given on the record to sign on behalf of Mr. Williams. I'm going to indicate that the examination was waived on today's date. Anything else to bring to the court's attention before the court signs a bind over, Ms. Wilson?
Not from the people.
Mr. Feigelson?
Nothing on behalf of Mr. Williams, Your Honor.
All right. I will sign the bind over documentation. So, Mr. Williams, your time in district court is done. Now you're now on to circuit court where negotiations are to continue, and you'll get your next circuit court date from your attorney, Mr. Feigelson. All right, Mr. Williams?
Yes, Your Honor.
All
I'll be
right.
in touch, sir, soon.
So anything else for the record in docket 24-02562, Ms. Wilson?
Not for the people, thank you.
Mr. Feigelson?
Nothing on behalf of Mr. Williams, Your
All
Honor.
right, Mr. Williams, you're all set. Thank you for your appearance today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
There an Anthony Williams on.
There's an Anthony, I think
Yeah,
that is an Anthony
because I
Williams.
believe he is the co-defendant to that case.
All right, and you are under the moniker Anthony, you are Anthony Williams, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's go ahead and put that on the record. All right, so we're on the record in docket 24-02563. That is People of the State of Michigan versus Anthony Williams. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson.
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Ms. Schroeder.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Mr. Anthony Williams. At this time, that is, and I will address that further in a moment.
All right, and sir, you are Anthony Williams, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you can hear me all right, Mr. Williams?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. This is the time set for a probable cause conference. Ms. Wilson, how are we proceeding, or you can defer?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Schroeder is currently the attorney of record. However, as I mentioned before we went on the record, this is a co-defendant case. The Public Defender's Office does represent that other co-defendant. It's my understanding this case has been sent out for conflict counsel. I believe that was yesterday, so obviously they haven't gotten a response yet. So I think the prudent thing at this time would to leave it set for exam next week, so we're not waiving any rights or anything, with the understanding that there may not be an attorney yet, and if that's the case, we can address it then.
Is that a fair statement, Ms. Schroeder?
It is, Your Honor, and I will state for Mr. Williams, I had not had a chance to call him on this yet to advise him of this situation. I did text and email him. I apologize for that late notice, but yes, our office is in the process of seeking a conflict attorney outside of our office. And I did message this morning asking for an update on that status. I'm awaiting an answer.
All right. So, Mr. Williams, what we're doing today is, since the Public Defender's Office is representing the co-defendant, your attorney has been requested for conflict counsel. And what we're going to do today is just leave this on for preliminary examination to see if conflict counsel is appointed for this file. If not, we might have to address that next week. But at this point in time, we're just leaving it on to see if we can get a conflict counsel so that all your interests can be represented. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So I'm going to leave it on for September 13th at 9:30. That's live. And then we'll have a little bit more information, hopefully, on conflict counsel. We can address any issues at that time. Anything else for the record in 24-02563, Ms. Wilson,
Not for the people.
Ms. Schroeder.
I will keep both Mr. Williams as well as the prosecutor in the court aware of where we stand, hopefully prior to next week in terms of conflict counsel, but nothing else. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I'll see you on September 13th. That'll be live in person because it's set for prelim. But we'll see if we can get conflict counsel there on that date. All right, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we're all set in docket 2402-563. Thank you, everybody, for your appearance.
Thank you.
You're all set, Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
Thank you.
While we're waiting on Ms. Wanji is.
She's right here. She's right there.
Oh, sorry, behind Adam. I'm sorry. Never mind, we're ready to go on, Mr. Ross.
I'm
It's just
sorry.
my point of view, I'm so sorry.
So you ready to go on Mr. Ross?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'll double check. In the Ingham County Post 2, you are Guy Ross, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. All right, we're on the record in docket 2402-544. That is People of the State of Michigan versus Guy Ross. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Mr. Nagel.
Good morning, Your Honor. Matt Nagel for the people.
Ms. Wanji.
Good morning, Your Honor. Melanie Wanji for Mr. Ross.
And sir, you are Guy Ross on video conference, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you can hear me all right, Mr. Ross?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. This is the time set for a probable cause conference. Mr. Nagel, how are we proceeding today?
Your Honor, it's my understanding that we are going to be continuing to the preliminary exam.
All right. So we're leaving on for preliminary examination. Is that a fair statement, Ms. Wanji?
It is, Your Honor.
So we will leave it on for September 13th at 9:30 in front of Judge Buchanan. Anything else for the record in docket 2402-544, Mr. Nagel?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Wanji.
Your Honor, I would like me to address bond. I understand that his bond at this time is 10,000, 10%. He's unable to post that bond. He knows that he has no contact with the alleged victim in this case. Is willing to abide by that. He knows that he has to check in with critical services, and he's also he will be doing that. I don't know that he's at flight risk. And we will respectfully ask that his bond be modified to a lower amount, an amount that he can pay.
Mr. Nagel. Any response?
Well, Your Honor, I believe this case came about when the defendant was released from a rehabilitation facility and then he relapsed with alcohol use. So my only concern is really it's his mental health, I think, is the issue. So I think I would ask that the bond remain as it is, just to give the defendant the incentive to continue to stay off alcohol, hopefully regain the mental health he had just before being released from rehab.
You know, I can address that. I am in contact. Actually, I did contact the center, the home where he was, the halfway home where he was doing the inpatient treatment or the outpatient treatment. They're willing to take him as soon as he's released from the jail. And it's also my understanding that before he was arrested, he was already looking into going to detox. It is my understanding that because he has been in jail for more than 7 days, he doesn't need any detox anymore. He can go back to the home where he was getting services. And I also had a number for his sponsor.
I would have no objection under those conditions.
All right. I'm not going to modify the bond. This was set by Judge Buchanan. She set the initial arraignment bond. So I'm going to leave it to her to readdress this at preliminary examination. It's in front of her. She set bond at 10,000, 10%. She also set conditions, some bond conditions on it. So there were a reason why she did that, and I won't modify that. I'm going to indicate for the record that there will be a request to modify bond at prelim.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna object on this.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Funch, can you tell
All
us
right.
for just a minute?
Yes.
Well, that's all for the record in 24-02544. Mr. Ross, you'll be in front of Judge Buchanan on September 13th. All right, sir? Mr. Ross.
Is there a Yusuf?
So, Mr. Ross, you can let them know that you're all done when they ask. All right, sir?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that's Mr. Dan.
Okay, so that. So, Mr. Daly, you can unmute. We'll call your case. Thank you. So we're on the record in docket 24-02533. That is People of the State of Michigan versus Nick Daly. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Mr. Nagel.
Matt Nagel for the people.
Ms. Wanji.
Manager Biwanchi for Mr. Daly.
Okay, this is the time set for a probable cause conference. This is a Judge Buchanan file. Mr. Nagel, how are we proceeding?
At this time, Your Honor, I think we're going to just leave this set for the preliminary exam.
And is that a fair statement, Ms. Swanson?
It is, Your Honor.
All right. So we will leave on for preliminary examination on September 13th at 9 a.m. That'll be in front of Judge Buchanan. So Mr. Daly, please keep in contact with your attorney, Ms. Wanji, and you're set for September 13th, which is next Friday, in front of Judge Buchanan. Anything else for the record in 24? I forgot. Sir, you are Nick Daly, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you can hear me all right, Mr. Daly?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. So we've left this on for prelim on September 13th at 9 a.m. Anything else for the record, Mr. Nagel?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Ms. Wanji?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, so you'll be in front of Judge Buchanan on September 13th at 9 a.m. Thank you for your appearance today, Mr. Daly.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wanji. Almost forgot to put his name on the record. Mr. Davis has to be a new red. How about Perry? You wanna go? He's on Zoom.
Notes indicate he's not represented, that he's denied.
Let's go ahead and call his case. We'll figure out. Might just move on and let him.
Try to pull a James, but she's in the middle of the field.
All right, Mr. Perry, you can unmute.
Let's give him a taste of
All
it.
right. Exactly. So we're on the record in docket 24-02498. That's People of the State of Michigan versus Isaiah Perry. For the appearances for the record, Mr. Nagel.
Matt Nagel for the people.
And sir, you are Isaiah Perry, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And you can hear me all right, Mr. Perry?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right, this is the time set for a probable cause conference in front of Judge Buchanan. Mr. Perry, you are not represented by counsel today, is that correct?
I never got contacted by any for anything, so I don't think so.
I have that, yeah, I have your application for public defender was denied on August 26th.
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
I'm not sure why either. So it would be my impression, there's two things you can do. And we'll leave this on for September 13th. I think that would be the reasonable thing to do. One is you can reapply to the public defender's office if any of your financial status has changed. You should have representation at this for this R&O. It's a felony, and you should have representation. But you'll need to contact the public defender's office and make reapplication because you were denied. If you're denied again, you should probably seek your own counsel, which is you should seek your own legal representation in this matter. Go out and find a lawyer. Both of those are available to you. You're running out of time though, because we'll leave it on for prelim next week. All right, sir?
Yeah.
All right. So do you plan on reapplying to the public defender's office?
Yeah.
All right. So, Mr. Nagel, any comment on this?
No, Your Honor, I was going to recommend we leave this set for the exam.
All
just
right.
These are status.
So we'll leave on for preliminary exam for September 13th at 8:30. Mr. Perry, that's live in front of Judge Buchanan on September 13th at 8:30. That'll be live on the 6th floor of City Hall of Lansing. And you should get notice sent to that Eaton Rapids address. Is that still a good address for you?
Yes, sir.
All right. In the meantime, that gives you about a week. I would prioritize reapplying to the public defender's office or getting a lawyer for your own representation. All right, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else for the record in 24-02498, Mr. Nagel?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, Mr. Perry, you're all set. You'll be live in person in front of Judge Buchanan on September 13th at 8:30. All right, sir?
Yes, sir.
You're all set. Thank you for your appearance today.
Thank you.
I only have Mr. Jonathan Davis left.
Yeah, let's-
I just went to hunt down Robinson and it appears he's in the middle of a prelim in work, so I don't know. if-
Who's Robinson?
Aaron
Robinson.
Oh. It's Robinson. I was concentrating on,
The defendant name?
yeah, not Davis.
He's like, I don't have.
Right. All right, so we're on the record in docket 2401-921. That is People of the State of Michigan versus Jonathan Davis. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Mr. Nagel.
Good morning, Your Honor. Matt Nagel for the people.
And then you are subbing in for Mr. Robinson today, who is currently in a preliminary examination. So Mr. Austin.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Jared Austin appearing on behalf of and in the absence of Mr. Davis, filling in for counsel of record, Ms. Robinson.
All right, and I will indicate my understanding, and then I'll let counsel make a record. We have information that Mr. Davis is presently incarcerated in the Eaton County Jail, so we'll do a writ. We'll leave the preliminary examination on and do a writ for him to come to that date to have him here pursuant to writ. There's also some other information that another state may be writting out, or that would be extraditing out Mr. Davis, but we don't know. We don't have that information. That's just information we might have. Is that a fair statement?
That is correct, Your Honor. My brief review of our own internal notes in the file indicated that it appears he's presently in Eaton County, but it also seemed to indicate that another state may be in the process of attempting to extradite him.
All right, so at this time, we will all leave this in your capable hands, Mr. Nagel.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I think a prudent thing to do is just leave this set for the exam
Yes.
next week.
Yeah.
And if Mr. Davis is unavailable due to an extradition, we'll address it at that time.
Right. We'll have more information in a week as to whether we can get him here, which we should be able to, and then what the status of the extradition is. All right, so we're going to leave on for preliminary examination on September 13th, 2024. We will writ out the defendant from Eaton County for that prelim, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Nagel. Anything else for the record? And 2401-921, Mr. Nagel.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Austin.
I have nothing additional, Your Honor. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. You're all set.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Austin, for stepping in on that.
Happy to help.